Hello. Hello.
Test, test. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, hi, Marge.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Dennis.
Hey, Rex.
Hey guys. How's everybody doing tonight?
Hi, Brian.
Good.
Hey, Susan.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good.
Everybody's staying healthy, looks like.
At least right here I am. We are.
Hey, Brian,
Yes, Jim.
I just realized before the call here, did you send out the
Volume?
newsletter?
There's a good
No.
possibility I forgot to do that.
Okay, I think I'm here.
Yep, you're here.
You are.
Hey, you got
Okay, I'm getting something to eat, Brian, so I'm not leaving.
Jim, there's a good possibility I forgot to do that. I will do that as soon as I get done with the meeting tonight.
Alrighty.
What'd I do?
I know you had mentioned it last week, so I
What
was
did I
kind of
do?
expecting it.
Somehow I'm off.
No,
You're on. I
you're
see you.
okay.
Well, I've lost whatever. Well, oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay. Hey, if I hit the wrong, no, now I've got Lightroom up. How do I get to you guys? Ah, got it. Sorry, Brian. you know how technologically bad I am.
It's always an adventure.
Hey, I just make your life interesting. Hey, I like that, Marge.
Yeah, Jim, I did mention that last time we talked, and I got to be honest with you, it just slipped my mind. Since I've went back to work and the way we have to work, I'm on a telephone from 9 in the morning till whatever time I leave work. And
I forgot about it
my brain's
too.
pretty well fried.
Well, just out of curiosity, are you on calls with potential customers then, or doing deals, or
I am selling cars online over the phone through text.
Good.
how's that work out?
It's an interesting process. Text messages, emails, FaceTime chats, you name it, we're using it to make sales.
How do you get those certified signatures, like titles and things like that?
That's done at the very last step. Whenever they come to pick up their car, we put them in an office. It's we're
Yeah.
just for that. They come in, sign their papers, and leave. Then we have to kick them back out.
Can you do test drives, or you still?
No test drives. Those are illegal.
Yeah, I still have Flight Simulator over here. You can take a test drive with that. You can test drive in a 747.
Yeah, it's been an adventure. I can say that.
Yes, it's not over yet.
Our finance manager doesn't want to come back to work because he's scared, or his wife is telling him he's not allowed. I'm not sure which. So me and another guy are sharing all of the sales and finance work. So it's not only just on the phone all day trying to sell cars, it is doing the finance work and papers and everything too. So it's been an interesting thing, especially
Brian? Oh, sorry. Brian,
yes,
you want to see my hallway that I talked to you about before?
I don't care.
Whoops, I gotta go though. I gotta pick this up and turn it around and see if I can do it right. Right light switch. Now, all I have to do is get the camera in the right position. Is it
Okay.
showing?
Yeah, we see it.
Okay. It goes all the way down my hallway. The best I can do on here.
Okay, cool.
But it'll hold 20 pictures or probably easily.
All right.
Just trying to update you. F2. Right.
Annie may be late tonight. She's
Annie?
called into work.
Yeah, Annie texted me and said she will be late tonight. DL is going to be on a little later too. He's in a meeting right now for the art all night. So maybe he'll have any kind of updates or something like that when he gets here. And I think that's all I know about. I don't know if anyone else was coming or not. So.
Hey, Brian, I will tell you I've not been getting your emails on the meetings.
Well,
I get the newsletter, but I don't get the.
it's the exact.
I had to call Marge.
Okay, it's the exact same email. I mean,
I know. I
Could
don't
it
know
gone
why
into
one's
your
coming.
promotion? Could it have gone into your promotions? And another
I'm
tab?
gonna go back to my other email. I have more. Gmail is not a great email.
Yeah, mine always goes into the promotions for this meeting.
Yeah, I checked the different places and I didn't find it anywhere.
so some of you guys will appreciate this because you know me fairly well. But I had a customer that I've been dealing with for a week on a vehicle, back and forth between emails and phone numbers and phone calls and whatnot. And today he was being a little bit rude and wanted pictures of the underneath of the vehicle. It's a dual-wheeled pickup truck. So I went outside and I took 60 photographs of the underneath of the vehicle.
Who's being rude?
And then I came in and emailed him 30 emails with 2 pictures each in each email.
Uh-huh.
And they pay you to do that, huh?
Hey, Brian.
My boss loved the fact that I was doing that.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
You can put it up on a rack and take one.
Well, yeah, but that would have made sense. I wanted to.
Right.
I wanted to.
No, you wanted to make
Back
him
at
think
him.
about it.
Yes, he was aggravating me. So
You wanted him to think about it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So then, after that was all said and done, he emailed me and said, "Thanks for the pictures. I'll take the truck." And Now I can't get him financed.
Oh. Can you charge him for the pictures?
So I emailed him and said, sorry, I can't get you approved. You're going to have to come up with a cosigner or something or do something.
Mm.
Jeez.
Oh, wow.
It was worth it though. I enjoyed sitting there sending 30 emails, one right after another, just boom, 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 boom. He got his 60 pictures of the underneath of the truck. So anyhow, that was a little bit of the fun for the day, I guess. All right. So we're going to talk about Lightroom, I guess, tonight. Since
Hey, Brian, before you get started, I just wanted to compliment Melissa that she's out of her cave this evening. We can actually see her.
I got a light on, yeah.
Cool. Melissa, did you figure out where my background is? You're usually the person that can figure it out. I'll go that way.
The blue people. What is the name of the blue people? Avatar?
Yep, that was it.
Oh, gosh. Do I get money for this? That's a third in the row.
The next time I see you, I'll pay you a penny.
It's better than nothing.
Of course, at that time, the penny may only be worth 1/4 cent. But
Hey, Brian, give her 2 cents. She's at least worth 2 cents.
I agree. I agree.
all right. So, how's everybody been doing with? Maybe everybody been out taking pictures?
No.
No.
I totally gave up on the whole staying home crap. I'm done with that. I was out Saturday for 4 hours in Ohio, pal, walking around with 10 million other people. You could not find a place to park in that place.
Man.
There was hardly anybody there on Sunday.
Oh, really? Well, it was raining Sunday.
That's why.
Yeah, Saturday, I met a friend of mine up there, and we went and took our RC trucks and walked for 4 hours in the park with our trucks and fooling around. So it was a good day. Of course, since that's the first time I've done anything like that in over a month, I slept all day Sunday. But yeah, I'm getting tired of the whole thing, and so I've been out more and more. And then with working, I'm out anyhow. So it is what it is at this point.
Well, just be careful, Brian.
No, hey, whatever. All right. So, anybody have any specific questions on Lightroom that they want me to cover tonight? I'm going to cover a little bit in the print module. I know there was a question about maybe putting a frame around a print. So we're going to take a look at that in the print module, and I'm going to show you a video on that. It's off of a little older version of Lightroom, but it still is about 99% correct at this point. So we'll take a look at a video. It's about 8 minutes long, not very long. So, excuse me, guys, my phone's ringing. I'll be right back.
Oh, dear.
Okay. Sorry about that. I'm back. I don't know who's calling me, but I'm not answering. From Elwood City. I don't know anybody there. Anyhow, I got an 8-minute video that we'll take a look at for putting a border around a picture in Lightroom, in Lightroom. We'll take a look at that. And also we're going to take a look at Watermark. That was a question that was asked. And also a thing called I'm trying to think of the name, image plate, I think is what they refer to it as. So we'll take a peek at that this evening.
What was that last item? I'm sorry.
I think it's called the image plate, if I
Plate?
remember correctly. Yes.
That's this part, I think, right up here, isn't it? This little piece right up in here.
It is that part right there, but that can be used for more than just that part. So we'll take a peek at that. And a lot of people think of the image plate as just the spot where it says what the information is at the top left-hand corner of your Lightroom screen. But you can change that to anything you want. And you can also use the image plate to put files or your name or stuff like that over top of photographs in Lightroom. So we'll take a peek at that real quick. And any questions that you have, we'll cover those if we can, if I know the answers. If I don't know the answers, that'll be for the next time. Trying to think, we have one more Lightroom class, or is this the last Lightroom class? I forget.
June, I think, is the last. No, I don't know. We divided it up among 10 months, so you have 5 months. So you have, this is the last one.
Are you sure? I forget. We'll figure.
Oh, wait. No, I'm not, because we started in March.
Right, it's 8 meetings. It's not 10. Or
We're doing 4 and 4, right?
Okay.
4
Yeah,
and 4.
4. Yeah, so no, and we started in March, so.
So next month will be our last Lightroom, and then the following month we'll go into
Photoshop.
Yes. All right, and I don't think I have any other announcements.
I'm sorry, Brian, not to be rude and interrupt you, but we do have a meeting tomorrow night too? Or
If
not?
y'all want, yeah, if y'all want to. I'm taking an evening off from work, so yes.
Okay.
Yep. We're actually working regular hours. I'm working till 8 o'clock at night, and I'm working 6 days a week right now. So, but yeah, I told him I wanted to leave early tomorrow so we could have our meeting. So yes, we will have our meeting tomorrow night, and I'll send that invite out after this meeting tonight. And Jim, as well, I will send the newsletter out too. Thank you for reminding me.
Sure.
All right. Let's watch the video first. So let me share that over to you guys, and then we'll get into Lightroom and take a look around. Let's see. I want to share that thing.
Are you recording?
Yep, I have it set up to where it automatically starts recording when we open the page now.
Ready?
Okay. You guys should see a thing called Using the Identity Plate in Lightroom Print Module. A video. And so it's about 8 minutes long. We'll watch through this, and it shows using the identity plate, and also it shows working on some frames and stuff like that in Lightroom. So I thought it was a pretty good video. So I'm going to share that with you. And then after that, we'll go into Lightroom.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another Beyond the Lens Workshops screencast. And today I wanted to share a way that you can use the identity plate feature in Lightroom to create really nice looking prints with your name or your logo or your business information at the bottom of every print. A really nice branding function that makes your prints look really professional. And you can also use that to export your layouts as JPEG files to create the same kind of look online on a web gallery or on an iPad portfolio, for example. Let me just show you the basics of the identity plate, which in its simplest form, the identity plate allows you to change or add this text or any text to the top left-hand side of your Lightroom interface right up here. You can actually use graphic files as well. So if I go into Lightroom Preferences, right here, you see identity plate setup, and you'll get this window where you can type some text in here. So I've already got some text typed in, but if you wanted to add something else or create a new identity plate, I can just type in my name, for example, and I can select it. You have to select it to edit it, change the font. So I'll choose another font here, and I'll change it to bold, and I'll add a color. Okay. And so we can do something like that. And then you can go ahead and save that as a preset. So I'll click here and I'll hit Save As. Name gray, because that's the color I used. Okay, and so now you can see that's the basic use of the identity plate. However, the identity plate is also available in the print module, which gives it a whole other range of uses and functionality that I particularly enjoy. So if I select this image here, go to the print module. All right, and here I've got basically an 8.5 by 11 setup, and you can see that right here on the right-hand side column, right above the print job panel and in the page panel, there is an identity plate section, and probably lots of times this is unchecked. So lots of folks don't know that you can actually enable that. But if you turn this on or tick this box, the identity plate function becomes available, and you can see right away that the identity plate that I have here automatically pops up on the print here, and I can go ahead and select from my saved identity plates. Okay, so for example, the one that we just created a minute ago, there's the RJR name, and this is simple text, but I can change the scale. I can change the opacity. That's the scale. I can change the opacity to make it kind of transparent. Right, I can also change the orientation. So here is 90 degrees in case you're making a print that is vertical in nature and you haven't adjusted your page. Right, I can turn it upside down if I want, of course, and then no rotation. All right, that's the identity plate in using text. Now, another powerful feature of it is being able to use graphical files with it, or graphics files that you create in Photoshop or similar application. So again, if I click on this tiny little triangle here and click on edit, I can now go ahead and add a graphical file. And right here, it allows you to switch from text to a graphical identity plate. Click on locate file, and I have some files that I already created. So let's go in here. Graphics. All right, here's a logo that I created as a PNG file. Now you want to try to use PNG files because when you create a PNG file, whatever you use as your background for the logo or for the text becomes transparent, so that while on a white piece of paper, that's not going to be an issue. If for whatever reason you wanted to place your identity plate over an image or over some other type of color, the white background would disappear. So let me show you what that looks like. Here's what my logo looks like, and you can see that it has a white background. If I hit choose, now it will give you a warning, or it's giving me a warning that the file size is very large. That might be the case for using it as a regular identity plate up here in the interface, but for using it to print, you want to use a high resolution file or a large file. So you can just ignore that, say use anyway. You don't even see it here, okay? But if I hit OK, there is my logo now, and I can go ahead and change the opacity and change the scale, and you can see now as I drag it over the image, the background disappears or becomes transparent, and I just see my logo. And that's again because I used a PNG file, .png file. So this might be useful if you wanted to use it as a watermark or some other special effect. For example, one of my other identity plates is my signature, which I scanned in. Now here, this is not a PNG file. This is probably just a regular Photoshop or TIFF file, and you can see how the white background does not disappear. So if I wanted to actually have this over a print, I would have to go back and save it out as a PNG file. But down here, over the white area of the paper, it works fine. Okay, let's go back to a different logo now. Here's another logo that I have. All right, so that's basically how you can go ahead and use this identity plate when making prints. And I can go ahead and save this as a template. That's the key here. If you're going to make a series of prints, you can save it as a template. And I'll call this 8.5 by 11 with identity plate, and hit create. And now I can come back and recall this layout for future use. So I can always go back and choose a different image. And all I have to do is adjust the identity plate if I want it to line up with the image in case there's a different aspect ratio to the image itself. Now, one other useful feature of the identity plate is, and of the Lightroom print module in general, is that in addition to printing a layout that you create, you can also export it as a JPEG file. And that has several uses, from, let's say, setting up your print in a certain way and then having someone else print it for you, because it'll export a high-res file. Or you can use this as a way to create a nice look for your images with your logo, your business name, what have you, and then export that to share online or create an iPad portfolio or what have you. So let me show you an example of that. If I go right above the identity plate area here, there's another checkbox for page background color. I'll turn that on. And now you see that I have a background on my image, and I can change the color of this. Okay, that's slightly darker gray. And I've also added a border to this. So the border is accessed up here, stroke border, and I've set that to white with whatever size I want. And my identity plate is here, and I'll make that a little bit bigger, or I can even center it if I want. And now you can go ahead and down in the print job area, you can change this from print to printer to JPEG file. And now this will actually export this as a JPEG file. You can set your resolution, you can set the sharpening, you can set the JPEG quality, you can even set the output profile. And in this case, if I'm going to share it online, almost always you want to use sRGB. I'll click on print to file, and let's give this a name. And now let's go to the desktop and take a look at what that looks like. All right, and there's the file, which has a nice setup and a nice layout and really creates a nice presentation. This can also be saved as a preset here so that you can have this for a specific preset for outputting files to JPEG, etc. So, alrighty, so hope that helps. Any questions or comments, let me know. Thanks for watching.
All right, what'd you think of that?
I thought it was pretty good.
Spoke very fast, and I would have to watch his video like 10 times to catch everything he did.
That is perfectly fine, because I'm going to send you the link to it too. That way you can watch it 10 times. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good one. There's several others out there, and they said it is a version or two older on the Lightroom module. Actually several, because the video was done in 2014, but 99% of that is still applicable to today. So, all right, let's go back to here and let's get Lightroom up. Actually, let me do it this way.
I feel like a complete idiot in this print module because I just edit my pictures and then export them to have them printed somewhere else.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. That is what I do 100% of the time. I do not like the print module in Lightroom. I find it very difficult to use, and I don't really like it, but you asked me to go over it, so I'm going to try to go over it a little bit. I'm not the best at it, and like I said, I'm not very happy with it. I don't like the way it works, but I'll show you as much of it as I can, and hopefully between me and anyone else that wants to chime in, we can answer the questions about it.
Well, I think that one of the last times around, I was one of the guilty parties. I was one who asked about how to work in the print module, because I do use actions to create mats and text in Photoshop, but the video I just saw and how quickly he was able to make a nice mat, I thought, wow, maybe if I get properly trained in it, I can do it better and still stay in Lightroom.
Well, that's my question. I use a mat board that fits, like I make my pictures fit 11 by whatever, 14, 8 by 10, and then I buy the mat to fit it. And that, I use that to keep it from sticking to the frame when I put it in a frame. So I'm not 100% sure why we would make our own mat when we have the picture printed.
Oh, well, I was going to say, most of the work I do, I wind up doing something like what's on the wall up here. I can pull it off the wall, but basically what I'm doing is I'm letting millers create the whole thing. They do the whole thing for me, and then I just have to put it in the frame. That's all that's left to do, and they look pretty good.
But doesn't that doesn't the photo stick to the glass if it doesn't have the mat to hold it from it?
No, I'm using a very strong substrate. And, you know, it's like a double mat board. It's usually 1/8 inch. You can get 16th inch, but I like the 1/8 inch because it doesn't curl. It's and it's inert. The materials they're using now are pretty close to inert anyway. And all that's left for me to do is to put it in the frame. And if I continue to use standard size frames, even though the work itself might have different channels that you see here, then I can get away with pulling it out of one frame and using a new print in that frame. So there's a couple of advantages that I see. But I was trying to think of an example here. Let me just take this one off the wall. See this here? Okay. This whole thing is done as, even though it'll look like it's a mat, it's a solid piece, and it's flat. Here, oops, can we see it, Brian?
I can see. Can everyone see?
Yeah. So, I mean, even looking at the reflections, you see that it's not optically flat by any means, but it's as good as you're going to want to get. And it didn't require a piece of glass, so it's lighter. You can choose the kind of surface that you want on it, a deep glossy surface or a matte surface or a pebble finish, and you can have it sprayed. It can be black and white or color. You can choose any part of it that you want. The bezel that's down on the inside, you can choose its thickness. It's just that bottom line is I'd like to be able to do that without having to leave Lightroom if it's easier to do. I can get it done, but I'm looking for a way to do it easier.
So, Melissa, a lot of people, and I noticed this a few years back, where people had gotten away from actually using glass, and they were just printing their own mats around their picture on a larger sheet of paper. So basically they were throwing a whatever size picture they had in the middle of a 16 by 20 sheet of paper, and then building a border around that and adding that and just having that printed, and then throwing that in a frame with no glass. So a lot of people do that. I'm not a fan of that. I do what you do. I use actual regular mat board with mats in it and stuff like that. But like the one that Rex showed is like that. It doesn't have glass. It's the border that's around that picture he had printed on it like that.
Mm-hmm. And I do have them with deep gloss finishes, and it looks for all the world like it has glass over it.
It did look like it had some sort of protecting over top the front of it. And when you showed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. So the border you have around there, Rex, is actually, you say to raise it when you turn it into Miller, that you wanted a raised border?
No, it's just a part of the image.
Okay,
but,
the border around there is what you're saying it is.
Yeah, well, it's a picture of Matt is basically what it is. It's an integral part of the image. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. And it's mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let me find one. I've got one more with a heavy gloss. I don't know if you got them. There's one. Now, I don't know if you can see it because it's big, but this one is, I'm going to try to make it.
It looks like a glass.
You see the gloss? See the gloss finish there?
Yeah.
Okay. And this was done exactly the same way. If you look at the of it right here. Let me see if I can, I have to do everything kind of backwards to get it in there. That's an integral part of the image. It's all I did is in Photoshop, I made it slightly larger. Obviously it was a pano, but that's what made it easy, and it's accurate. It doesn't have any, there's no flaws. There is no flaws anywhere in it.
Well, I didn't think about using it without the glass, because in Photoshop, I put my borders around there and it is like a matte. So just do that and then have it printed as a high gloss?
Well, no, what you're doing is you're putting it on a very strong flat substrate. Okay, it's, in other words, it's mounted on foam core or foam board or some kind of art board. And the foam core, or that's just, they're using a different name for it now, but what it is, it's very inert, it's very flat, and the prints love to stick to it. So I've not had any problem with delamination. I think the problem that some people might have is when the print begins to curl away from the mat, and you don't get that problem with this.
Okay.
All right.
Do they put a protective coating over it?
Dennis can chime in. I think Dennis can chime in because I think he uses a similar, don't you, Dennis?
No, normally not.
You just you have mats done.
I do.
Uh-huh.
I've done it, and it's kind of an inexpensive way to get a mat in a frame.
That's me. Okay. Yeah.
Is there a protective coating over it?
Oh, on the ones that I'm having done, I always have them put a coating of some kind. Either it's going to be a glossy finish coat, or it's going to be a matte coat. It's called matte finish.
Right.
All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at this print module that we either don't like or do like. I'm not sure which. I'm not a fan of it, as I said, but take a peek at it. On the left-hand side over here, you have a page setup. If you click on that page setup, you can pick your printers, where you're going to be sending it to. Mine's just set to one of my printers. And then you pick the size of the paper that you're going to be using. Now, one thing that I've noticed is that in the videos I watched, this used to have a custom size that you could put in here, but I do not see anymore a custom size. You can use a 4x6, a 5x7, 8.5 by 13, 8 by 10, or you can use a letter size, which is in here somewhere, letter. Now, a lot of the print paper that you buy, if you're going to print yourself, is letter size. But for our purposes tonight, I'm just going to use 8 by 10 in here. And you can do a landscape or portrait size paper. I'm going to use landscape for our thing tonight. And that way, when I click over here on the right side, where it says cells and add to page, and I say new page, it'll give me a 8 by 10 page that is in landscape format. Now you can do, and this again is under the layout style. I should have pointed out, we're on a custom package. I'm making the package that I want out of this. So it says custom package. Now, one of the nice parts that I do like about this is if you want to print a picture package, you can. There's picture packages. And you can say 2 3x5s. You can add all these different sizes to a picture package, and it'll throw the pictures right in there for you. You can grab a different picture, move them around, stuff like that. I'm not 100% sure on these things on this page, this process, because it just, to me, most of the time doesn't work the way I want it to.
Mm.
But let me go back to custom package, and we have a clean 8x10 sheet. That's what we're going to work with tonight. So at any point, I can put a picture in here, and I can grab any picture out of my picture board down here. I'm just going to grab this one here and stick it. Oop. Okay, one picture and stick in there. So I got a single picture in there, and then you can size that any way you want just by grabbing the bars, and Lightroom will automatically adjust to your size, your aspect ratio that you had. One of the issues that I have with this is there is no way to get it to, that I know of, to get it to go to the center. No matter what you do to it, it doesn't pop to a grid. It doesn't pop to, like, that's, you know, a lot of times in different programs, when you move something around, it'll show you when you get to the center of the page that you're working on. This one does not. I don't like that.
Hey, Brian, I don't use this, but on the right-hand side, under the tab, there's a grid snap that's off.
Yes, there is. And you can do anything you want with that grid snap. It still doesn't pop to center.
It doesn't, okay.
Cells or grid, it pops all over the place there, but it still doesn't give me, you know, a lot of times you'll get lines that'll pop up. In most programs, you get something that tells you, hey, you're in the center of the page, either vertical or horizontal. This one does not do that. That is my biggest problem that I have with this process, is that it does not tell me exactly where center is. So I'm kind of guessing the whole time, where is center? Where do I want this picture at? Which I don't care for. I'm not a fan of that. And to me, that looks about center, but is it? I don't know. You know, as far as side to side center, I know it's not centered up and down because I'm going to put something down here. But side to side center, that looks pretty close, but I'm not sure it's.
No, it's not.
Right.
It's not.
It's not. See, I can't
To
tell.
the left.
It's to the left, so let's move it.
That's close. Whoop. Close.
How's
A little
that?
to the right now, yeah. Yeah.
See, now I got to shut
You
this
overcorrected.
grid snap off, and then I can get it to move a little bit at a time. But, and as in a lot of programs, you can't use the arrow keys. When I hit an arrow key, you see it moves the pictures down at the bottom. So again, it's some issues that I have with this thing. And it may just be that I haven't learned it enough yet. I don't know. It may be able to do it, but in none of the videos that I've watched did it say, this is how you make the picture go in the center, because it doesn't do it for me. What do you think? Are we close to side center there? I think we are.
Question?
Yes.
I hate to go back to square one, but I need to know how to get an image into the print module so that I see it in the module.
You grab any image off the bottom and just pull it up and drop it in.
Oh, okay. All right. Pull and drag, okay.
And then,
also how to make the, go from portrait to landscape, landscape to portrait. How do I, where's that?
that would have been in your page setup on the left-hand side over here.
Okay.
Page setup. So when you set up the page to what you want it to do, that's in this one here, I have it as a landscape and an 8x10 sheet of paper.
Whoa. It's, what is it in? What's it in? Land?
On the bottom left, on the left-hand side, Rex.
Yeah.
On the bottom,
Okay.
you see page setup.
Nope. I'm starting at the top with Lightroom templates, and I'm reading down the list. And I come to landscape contact sheet or landscape. That's all I'm seeing. I don't have anything else in there like that.
You don't have a little,
Go ahead.
see, there should be a button at the bottom that says page setup. That's just a big gray button you can press.
okay.
Oh, the whole thing. Okay, got it. Yeah,
And that's where you pick your portrait or landscape.
okay. Landscape. Okay, there it is. Okay, got
And
it.
you pick a paper size if you want there. I've chosen 8 by 10 for this one.
Okay.
Okay, so I've got my picture in there. I've got a page set up. If you want to put a border around it, that is actually pretty quick and easy. Let's go to image settings, and I can put a photo border around it. Pick whatever size I want, but I don't know how to change the color of it because this color doesn't have nothing to do with that. So I'm not sure why that is there or how that works. And I can't find any information on changing the color of that border. So why put a photo border around it if you can only do it as white? I don't know. But you can do what's called an inner stroke. And that is where you can get a border, but as you see, that actually makes your picture a little bit smaller as well. And that one you can change the color of to whatever color you want. So now I've got a picture with a border around it. To me, that's pretty simple. That's easy. It goes around. I mean, that's easier than in Photoshop. You guys all see that? Okay. So you can change the background color of your picture if you choose to by changing the page background color. And now we can pick a different color for that too. So pick a black or lighter gray, whatever you want to do. And I'm picking different colors so that you guys can see a difference in stuff. Actually,
Where are you seeing all this on the left, Brian?
on the left in the
I have page setup, but I'm not seeing what you're doing.
this is on these information. The stuff that I'm looking at right now is on the right side of your screen.
I've got all of you guys' picture on the right. How do I get that changed?
Drag it.
Grab a hold of it and move it.
Take it to the bottom.
What?
Grab
I'm
it,
sorry.
grab it at the top and take it to the bottom. You see
Oh.
what?
Okay, now I got you all off. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. I can see the left. I can see the things on the left now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
On the right. On the right.
Now, my next question that I have about this is, see that little white line around there? Is that going to be there when I print this? I don't know. So I'm being kind of picky about this because I really don't feel that this works as easy as it should. I don't think that this should be this hard.
It's funny that white line's not up on the top.
Yeah.
It's gray up there.
So we're going to find out, because when we get done with this, we're going to print this to a file, and then we're going to open that file up and look at it and see what it looks like when we're done. So I'm just trying to get an idea of what this does. And I'm really, like I said, I'm really not excited about the way this works. Now, the identity plate I do like. I like this idea. So if I turn the identity plate on, you can see the last time just before we started the meeting, I did this. I put my name on there and I made it orange. So I can move that anywhere I want in here. And I can change the size of it just by grabbing it, scaling it, which is nice. Or you can scale it and change it right over here. Put it there. You can put it in the picture. You can change the opacity of it. You can change the color of that text if that's just a text in there. Let's make it, we'll make it green. Fluorescent green looks good. Um,
Question. I can get the plate to turn 90 degrees or 180, but how do I get it to turn all the way over? It says no rotation, rotation on screen 90, rotation on screen 180. If I go 180, it's upside down.
then you go back to no rotation and that'll put it back straight.
Oh, got it.
So we can put it upside down.
This is going to help a lot, right?
Suits you, Brian.
What's that?
Thanks, Brian. I needed that.
Okay. So that's pretty nice. And if you want to, if you have an identity plate made, which I do have one made that just has my name on it, and you want to, if you have this overdrive or override color clicked on, then when you change this, it doesn't actually change your identity plate. So the next time you pull up your identity plate, it hasn't changed. It's only changed on this particular photo that we've worked on. And if you want to make a different identity plate, there's a little drop-down menu right there in the identity plate box. We can click on it and say edit. And we can do whatever we want in here.
Okay.
No, Annie just showed up.
Hi, Annie.
How about Bob's photo? We'll change it to Bob's photo. We'll change the text to I don't know what sim sum is, but we'll find that out. Change the size of that, and we'll do, how about bold italic and see what that looks like. Oh, didn't really change much. But then we changed that. If I go back to the main identity plate, it shows me that one. But I didn't save the old one, I just made it, so it doesn't show back up again. So if I go back in and edit, and let's just change a text line here.
Make a script.
I'm a fan of, if I can find it, Comic Sans.
Yeah, me too.
I like that one too.
Because I'm just weird that way.
We know.
But why does it make you weird?
Oh crap, I forgot to change it. I forgot to save it again. So if we've done that, we can click on over here. So I've changed that to Comic Sans. I've changed it to bold, and then I can go and say save as. And now I can save this as a whatever. We'll call it comic identity plate and click save. And okay. So now when I go over here, I have comic and main. So there's the main one, or I can go back to comic. So you can save different identity plates in there just like that, and adjust them any way you want, make as many as you want. And then you can also use those PNG files like he was talking about and use a graphic for one. And I don't know if I have any PNGs I can grab real quick, but let's see if we can do a graphic. And I'm going to locate a file, maybe.
You ought to have one of the WPS graphics somewhere, Brian.
That's what I'm actually going to look for right now, if I can remember where I put it. And I don't know if any of these, I don't think any of these are PNG files, but we'll grab one anyhow. Choose. And we're just going to click let's save as, and we'll do WPS, save, and okay. So now there's a WPS one, and nope, it's not a PNG because it didn't get rid of the background for us. But there, you can put that on there now. And you can't center it because I don't know how to do that.
Is that a preferences choice, Brian?
What's that? The centering of that?
Yeah, the indication of centering.
What's that? I'm sorry again, Dennis?
I don't know, but I would expect Adobe to do exactly what you want. You might be able to turn it off or on.
I agree with you 100%, and I have looked for a couple of years now, and I've never been able to find that. I'm not saying that it's not there, and it probably is somewhere, but
It
I've
doesn't-
never been able to come up with it.
Doesn't do anything if you right click.
No. Nope. And sometimes if you hold like a shift key down and move stuff around, it'll nothing. I have not figured out the thing before that. I don't know.
I don't understand. I know I'm running an older version of Lightroom,
Uh-huh.
but I'm trying to look at this print module in mine, and I actually have a graphic background. There's actually the graph lines are on mine.
Yes, you can turn those on and off. Under rules, grids, and guides. See the grid lines show up now? They're red on this one.
Yeah, I see them.
If you turn that page grid off, it does away with all those little grid lines.
I didn't think that would help with centering.
I would think, but it still doesn't pop to any of those.
Yeah.
And there's not.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make a, like in Photoshop, gives you all of a sudden a line like, okay, here's center.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's what I would like to see. And again, that may be a preference somewhere. I'm going to do some more research on it. But in the few years that I've tried to do this, I cannot find it. Now, to me, I know that this is a 10-inch wide thing, so I know that the 5-inch mark is a center line, but I don't know where the center line is on my image or my graphic because it changes in size. So where's the center? You know what I mean?
Well, you do know that. That's that middle dot
Is
on
it
the top and bottom.
Yeah, should be.
So there, that's in the center now. But it's Adobe. It should just pop to the center spot. I mean,
Use the grid snap.
yeah. I have tried that every way possible. I've tried the grid snap. If I do a grid snap, there is no spot that does that. If I change the grid snap to cells, nothing.
Wow.
And that is where my major issue with this part of Lightroom is. And the reason I don't use the print module is because I have so much issues with that. I want to be able to lay a picture on there and slide it across and know exactly where center is for the size of the picture that I have there.
Yeah.
And for some reason, you can't do it, and I haven't been able to figure out how. Okay, so that was the identity plate. And those are pretty neat. You can use them. I like them. And you can do an identity plate up here where in the top left-hand corner where it says, where is my name? You click on that, you can go into, or no, I'm sorry, that is in a preference somewhere in here, identity plate setup. Under edit, identity plate setup. And you can change that and you can have that say the name of your business or whatever you want up there. I just have mine set with my name on it. An old version of Lightroom I used to have that had my business name up there, but I like using these. Now, Melissa, you had asked, I think it was you that had asked about watermarking. So you can do that too. And you can do that right here on your print module if you want. You click on watermarking. And I had one made up for Jennerstown, which is actually just my name. And you see it automatically put it in the bottom left-hand corner of the picture.
I think it was Marty. I have a whole bunch of them for different places on the photo. If I want it in the top, on the side, on the bottom, in the center.
Okay, then maybe it was Marty that asked about that. I remember it was somebody that had the name started with an M. And you can adjust those as well. So if we go in and say, I want to edit watermarks. Oh, it popped that screen over here. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can edit your watermark. You can put in here anything that you want. You can use graphics as a watermark as well. So you can put a graphic in. You type in whatever you want if you want to use text. And then you can decide if it has a shadow, what the text, what your font, it says right on the screen, I can't even say it. You can change what the font is. You can tell it to align left, center, or right. You can change the color of that. And then when you go down here, you can tell it where you want it to go. So this is nice. So if I want that watermark to go in the center, it'll put it right in the center of the picture every time I click on that watermark, or the right bottom, or there, or over here. And one thing that I have found is that when you put it in that bottom left-hand corner or bottom right-hand corner, you need to move it up and over just a little bit so that when you print, it doesn't cut it off.
Right.
So you can kind of see those lines, and I will usually move it over just a notch and up just a notch. And that way it doesn't get cut off. And if you're putting a mat around your picture, an actual cut mat, you want it to be up and over a little bit. Otherwise the mat itself will be catching the edge of that picture. So if it would come in there at 0 and 0, which I think is normally where that will show up when you first put that in there. If you put a regular mat over top of that photograph, it will cut that watermark off. So you want to move that up. And I'm normally 3 and 3 is where I go. And it moves it up just enough so that it won't be caught by a mat on the edge of the photograph.
Hey, Brian, not to be nitpicky, but in this case,
Uh-huh.
your gray frame is actually part of the print, if you will, right?
In this case, because I have my page set up as an 8x10, yes. But it is actually going to put the watermark on the file or on the picture itself. So not on the page, but on the picture. Because remember, we took a picture and just grabbed it and dropped it on the page.
Yeah.
So it knows, Lightroom knows that that's the photograph. So it automatically will put the watermark on that photograph rather than on the page itself.
Okay, so you couldn't really actually slide that off the photo then, you're saying?
Yes. I mean, I could move it over here and down there, and yes.
Okay, well, so that's, I guess, what I was getting at. If you sent this to your printer right now, it would print the photo with the gray border around it.
Correct.
And the reason you put the gray border on, at least I think, and hypothetical, was that that was going to be within the matting that you would eventually use to.
Correct. Well, what I'm showing you is I'm just showing you an example of what the watermark does. If I was going to use the watermark, it wouldn't be on something that I've added the gray border around. It would be just on a picture. Personally, that's the way I use the watermarks. But because I wanted to show the identity plate, we put the picture on a bigger page so that I could use the identity plate down on there as well. I know a lot of people like to have a picture with some information down at the bottom. I see Mike does that a lot. He'll put a picture and then he puts a title down at the bottom of the picture. So you can do that using your identity plates. If you have watermarks set up in Lightroom, and when you do an export just from the regular library page, you can tell it to add the watermark automatically for you when it exports, and it'll export every picture with that watermark in that bottom corner like we just set up right there.
Yeah. That's the way I do mine. It's when I export.
In the situation, I wouldn't be using the identity plate and the watermark on this particular picture because of where it's putting it. It's adding it to the image and not to the bottom left-hand corner of the whole page. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Well, I was also going to just make a quick mention that you don't have to go into print module to set up the watermarks, because you can do it under edit watermark.
That is true. Yes. And I'll show you that here in just a second. So anyhow, you could do that. You can you could do a graphic if you wanted to. And you have your different adjustments and stuff like that. So I'm going to cancel that because I don't want to actually change that one. And if I was just in the library module anywhere I wanted to, I can go under edit and edit watermarks. And here we go. There's a watermark that I have. That one actually has a copy or a copyright symbol on it. You could make a new one. You can do the graphics, everything, save it. And then that would be part of your, well, let's go. If I go in here and export, when my export file comes up, and there is watermarks. I can tell it, put a watermark on, and I could use the Jennerstown one or a simple copyright, which is the one that has the copyright symbol on it. Or at some point, at one point, I used to have like 30 of these in here of all different things that I would use for watermarks. I don't use them anymore, so they're not in here. But you could pick whatever you wanted from your list, and then when you exported the picture, it would have that watermark on it where you told that particular watermark to go. Okay, back to print module. Okay, so we have, in this particular picture, we've added a border, a gray background, we've added the identity plate, we've added a watermark. Is there anything else we can add to it? Let's see. I don't think so. I think that's about it for that one. So if I open print job up down here, now I have this set up to print to a JPEG file. You can send it to a printer or a JPEG file. If you choose JPEG, now we're going to export what we see there. And the reason we're going to export it right now is because we want to find out if that little white line around that border is there. If it is, I don't know why. So you can change your file resolution like you've seen in the video. You can do print sharpening if you choose to, JPEG quality. You can do custom file dimensions here. So I can change what it outputs here to a different size if I choose to. You can do your color management. You can do brightness and contrast if you want to adjust a little bit of that right there. So let's tell it to print the file, and I don't want to put it there. Let's put it on my desktop, and we'll just name it test so I can figure out what it is, where it's at. And Lightroom should send that out. We're going to open it up and see what it looks like. Any questions? Well, oh, no, that's already done. Let me go find my desktop and see if I can get that over here for you guys. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no white border.
And there's no white border around it. So you explain it to me. I can't. I don't understand why it did what it did in there, but there it is in all its ugly glory. Questions? Guess not. Okay.
I know a lot more than I knew before.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Does that work?
That makes two of you, not me.
I know a little more, Brian.
Okay. All right. 3. All right. So as I said, I'm not 100% happy with the way the print module works. It has some very strange things that I think should. The biggest problem I have is I can't center the pictures without like figuring out math and crap like that. And I shouldn't have to be able to. I should not have to do that with Adobe. I mean, Adobe is a graphics company that should be able to at least show you where the center of the damn thing is. So that aggravates me. You can do, if I go, I'm going to go up here, I'm going to click single image contact sheet. And let me see if I can remember how to do this. It's been a while since I did one of these. We don't need print job. Not worried about that. We can do grids. So we can add a whole bunch of rows in there. Let's add a whole bunch of columns in there. And now if I select a bunch of pictures, you see them popping in there?
Yeah.
So if you wanted to print a contact sheet out, which those of you that worked with film, Rex, you would know this.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, we did a lot of contact sheets. We would take all of our negatives and just print a contact print of all of our negatives, and you could get an idea of what you had. So if you wanted to do something like this and print these out for a file that you have, so you can go and look and see pictures, quick ones. Here's a quick and easy way of doing that. I do like this feature, and when I've dealt with customers or where I've taken a whole bunch of pictures of the same item, different angles and stuff like that for someone, I'll throw them on a contact sheet like this, print out some contact sheets and show them to the customer and let them pick which angles or which views they like. So that has an option of things that you can do. And you can add some margins in there. Let's do a...
Well, would that margins work with your picture to center it?
Nope, because those aren't in the other, the custom package we were using. Cell spacing is the big one. You can get some space in between your pictures, so you can get those in there. And
Hey, Brian, excuse me, can I interrupt?
yes,
When you were doing the previous edit for the print setup for that photo, and you couldn't get it centered, were you in the custom package then?
yes.
So what's the picture package?
A picture package is you can add, let's clear the layout. So in a picture package, you can, so I click the picture package, and I can go down here and I can tell it to add to package, 2 2x5s or a 2 by 2.5. You can add different cells to a package. So this is an 8x10 sheet, and say I wanted to print a 4x6 and a 2.5 by 3.5 and a 2 by 2.5. So now I can do that. And I believe you can change individual picture. Nope, that didn't do what I wanted it to. Unless I have a button clicked on here. Let me see here. I think there's a way to where you can add several different photos to a package. So you could do an 8x10 or a 5x7 of one and something like that. But for some reason, this is not allowing me to do that. It's changing all of them at one time.
Well, what I was curious is if you just selected a single photo in this picture package, I'm just wondering if it has a snap to center type option to it.
So let's see, let's do a 5x7. That's where it puts it. Nope. It'll snap to the outside edges, but not to the center.
What's the auto layout button do?
Puts it over there.
Oh, okay. That's strange.
Yes. And again, like I said, it's part of the issues that I have with this print layout thing, because it doesn't work the way you expect it to work. You know, if I'm doing a picture package, one of the things I'd like to be able to do is print 2 different pictures, but it won't let me. If I click on one, it gives me both pictures. You know, that's some of the idiosyncrasies of this thing that I don't like. I really don't. And that was the big word of the day, idiosyncrasy. But like I said, I do like the contact sheet thing, because you can adjust that to however many you want to put on a page and select a whole bunch and put them on there, and you could print that out. And it's looking at one point years ago when you used a contact sheet, you could actually put the file names underneath the pictures, but I don't see that on here now. they seem to have done away with that.
I'm sure you can do that.
There it is, photo info. You could, if you click on the under the page information, the page side, and if you go down here, you can do photo info, and then you have some presets that you can put in there. There's exposure information. If you had titles set up, file names are in here. There's the file names, and it will print that on your contact sheet for you. So I could, this is helpful. It could be helpful, and I could see a reason behind this. Questions? Comments?
It's nice. Thank you for showing us that. I had no idea you could do stuff like that in Lightroom.
Yep. And I wish I understood it better and could figure this out. And I have tried over the years, and I've just not been able to. So I apologize for that, but my phone has rang 7 times since we started the meeting.
7 skills.
That's a good sign.
You're popular tonight.
I think that guy just wants more photos of the undercarriage of the car.
I'd be more than glad to help. I'll have to go take pictures of every bolt that put that truck together. Anyhow, that is the print module in probably the worst explanation of the print module that you could see. But that's it. I don't care for it. I don't like it. I don't use it. But there it is. If you can figure it out, and at some point you would like to show the group how it works much better than I did, you're more than welcome to it.
No, I think you did a real good job.
Okay. But I do like that contact sheet. And Rex, I got the feeling you're probably going to be using that contact sheet part.
Oh, no, I definitely want to be able to do that. Yeah. No, I want to be able to post work using it.
Okay, so while we're here, let's take a look at, let me go back to the library and just get to a single photograph. There, we'll click on that one. And let's see if this is on the map somewhere. I don't know if you guys have ever used the map feature.
No.
Yeah.
So at one time, that actually used to bring up a whole different module and a whole different screen, and you could look, and yeah, that photograph isn't on the map because that's showing me West Park. I'm trying to think of where I have some pictures that would show up on here. There we go. So on this map here, if I click on number 15, or this 15 here, that'll show me there's 15 photographs in that group that were taken at that spot. And here's 2, see it highlighted those were taken outside of Phipps Conservatory. So it uses, if your camera saves latitude and longitude to the picture,
Yes.
it will automatically put them in this map feature, and you can go and look at stuff from the map. And if you click on those, it will bring, there's those pictures that are highlighted there. If you see how they highlighted down at the bottom, that's those 15 pictures, and those were listed on the map. And you can see over here in the metadata, there is a GPS coordinates there. Now my camera doesn't do that all the time. I have to tell it to do it. And what it does for my camera actually pulls those coordinates off of my cell phone through Bluetooth. So I don't have it set up to do that because it uses the battery on the camera. It uses the battery on the phone more. It's a neat feature, but I don't use it. just to me, it seems like it's not quite, I don't know. It pops these up. You can go through and look. There's pictures that were listed on that, 15 pictures that are in that particular.
Is that just those that are opened? It doesn't take it from all of your collections, does it?
Well, it would if like I said, I don't have that feature turned on all the time.
Uh-huh.
I turned it on that day knowing that I was going to show this at one point. So I turned it on for so that would happen. But like I said, I normally don't use it because it's every time you take a picture with my camera, then it Bluetooths over to the phone and says, hey, where are we at? And then, oh, there's where you're at. So I don't typically have that feature turned on my camera just because I don't want to use the battery to do that. And it's not something I use, but I did want to at least be able to point that out in the Lightroom class, that it is something that if your camera does that automatically, and Jim, yours I think does that, doesn't it?
Jim Murphy?
Yes, you. Yeah, I'm
No,
sorry.
I would have to do it the same way you did.
Okay.
I have to do on my Canon, it records the location. I turn it on, but the battery life seems to be fine.
Okay.
I haven't tried mine yet.
Yeah, with the Nikon that I have, it pulls, like I said, it pulls it from a Bluetooth signal to my phone.
Yeah.
Now you can put there's a little thing that you can plug into the Nikon and it'll use a GPS signal from that. And that doesn't use the amount of battery, but to me, this isn't necessary for me. I don't really care the latitude and longitude. And when I go look at this and I know that it's in a FIPS folder, I know I took the picture at FIPS. So, and I'm pretty sure I know where FIPS is in Pittsburgh. But I can see a mapping process and a GPS information being important to like a National Geographic photographer that's all over the world. And that would be a nice way of being able to find their pictures in different areas because it has that on it. But anyhow, I wanted to point that out to you. It is in Lightroom. You can use it. And like I said, there's 17 pictures that I had that turned on for so that I could show you those.
Yeah, obviously it's not of much use to somebody who spends 20 some years taking pictures in the same or a nearby studio somewhere. But a landscape photographer, I think somebody like Dennis, who went someplace and saw if he was in a specific position and took a picture from there and wanted to replicate it later on because it was even more beautiful than before, to be able to get back there in a certain kind of weather or something of that case, that it would be helpful to find your way back, to navigate back to that spot. But actually, maybe even your car nowadays can do that for you, get you back to that spot.
It would even help somebody like me. I don't know the area as well as I should. And I'll take a picture and I have no idea where I'm at. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I could see myself like if we went to any one of these parks and I climb up on a ridge line or something that I'm not familiar with, and I take this picture that I really like, and then all of a sudden a beautiful snowy season comes in and I want to climb back up there. I'm trying to remember where that spot was. Well, having those grid coordinates will make the difference. It'll get me back there.
Yeah, and Annie and I will get in the car and just go. We don't have any idea where we're at. And it would be nice when we just, okay, let's stop here on the side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see why it would be nice to have.
Yeah.
Well, I have, like I said, I have that feature on my camera, on my new one.
Yeah, I do too.
I just haven't turned it on.
I haven't either.
Now, here's one nice feature of this map process. If you're using it to put your pictures in, your pictures are grabbing that information, you can do up in the top right hand corner here, you can do a map search. So if I did a map search and I can type in Ohiopyle, PY, and it'll take my map to Ohiopyle. So if I had that turned on in that area, you would see an orange thing that had pictures in it or a number in it. So if I go back and say, let's go back to Pittsburgh. Okay, that brought me down. That took me to Pittsburgh. And when I start sliding the map around, oh, look, there's 17 pictures.
And if you had it turned on, it would take it, and you did it with all your photos, it would take it from all your collections.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
No, let me say that again. Let's go back to I forget how I do that. Let's go to all photographs. Oh, look, that changed. So no, you have to tell it that you're looking at all photographs.
Okay.
So down here, I went to all photographs. And now you notice that number went to 99. And then I got a number over here that says 9. Those are at West Park.
Okay.
So let's go back to Ohio Powell and see if I have any up there.
Can you search by county?
I do not know the answer to that. We'll try it. So nothing came up in Ohio Powell, but if you see when I scanned out there,
A bit.
7 pictures there. There's 60 pictures. That's Lynn Run. I can tell you that by looking at that picture that popped up. There's the bogs.
Yep.
There's Jennerstown Speedway. So yeah, you could use it like that. And let's see if we can do.
If you made several trips to the same place, does it date them?
Well, the dates would be on the pictures themselves.
Well, yeah, that's true.
So let's do Westmoreland County and see what it says. See if it searches for the whole county. It did pretty much show you the county area.
Yeah, it does. Well, no, it doesn't.
Wasn't perfect, but it was better than nothing. But you can see there's several times where I've had that turned on, and you can see pictures. So you can take it or leave it. When I first checked into that, I thought it was really cool, and I tried to do it a lot, and then I got to where it was like, yeah, the heck with this. So, but it is something you can do, and it's a good way of finding, like that's showing 15 pictures that were taken at Jennerstown Speedway. There should be 500 photographs in here from Jennerstown Speedway because I didn't have it turned on all the time, so it's only showing a few. Now, if you have cell phone pictures in your collections or in your all your photographs in Lightroom, almost all your cell phone pictures are going to have a GPS coordinate turned on, so they would be showing up in here as well. Any other questions?
You don't need your phone, though, to use your GPS, do you?
For my Nikon camera, yes, I do.
What about for mine?
I don't know. I'd have to see if your camera has GPS built into it or not.
Yeah, it's got a GPS built into it, but I didn't think it.
Then you don't need your phone.
Okay.
My camera does not have GPS built into it. It pulls the GPS signal from my cell phone.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, guys? Now there is a module up here called Book, and that's for building a picture book. I'll click on it. It's been, I don't know that I've ever clicked on it actually. And there's a standard landscape 10 by 8 inch, 2 pages, and it gives you a price. So I'm assuming that it wants you to send it to something that Adobe has said, yeah, or it sends it to Blurb. So you can add pages and stuff like that, and you can build a picture book in here by adding pictures to that from your gallery or from your library, I should say, and send that out to have it printed for you.
Whoa. Well, I forgot that I had selected
My word out because my
13
battery
pictures,
is
and I use the same technique to drag up into the
running low.
cover, and it dragged them all. It dragged everything up there. Anyway, I'll get them out of there.
There's also a page up here for web, where you can go in and build a web gallery. And then you can export that. If I remember correctly, you can export that out as a.
Yeah, there will be a drone.
Close. Let me see that. I
There it
believe
is.
that you can export that out as an HTML page, or you can upload it to a website. And there's a lot of options in here as far as what you're how you want to do a web gallery. I did use it years ago when I built some
There
web
it is.
pages.
Right there. Oh,
I don't use it anymore. And then there's also a slideshow page. Making slideshows. Some tips. And you can build a slideshow in here using your pictures and then export that out, and you have a slideshow that can be exported. If you want, I think that would be a good one for maybe next time that we can take a look at a little bit more. I'll learn a little bit more about that one. If that's up to you guys, if you want to look at that next time or not, it doesn't matter to me.
yeah, that would be neat.
Don't everyone say yes at the same time.
Drones.
I probably would never use it, but the others may.
They'll show the drone.
Okay. It doesn't matter to me. The next meeting for Lightroom is entirely up to what you guys want to do.
They're doing the photographs there with drones up in the air.
We hear you, Carolyn.
I know. I'm trying to tell my husband something and he's not hearing me. Sorry.
Turn yourself off.
Okay. What time is it? It's 8:30. We got about half an hour to go. Anybody got anything they want to talk about, or anything
Hey,
they
Brian,
want?
I've got a question. And I don't want to put you on the spot if you're not ready tonight, but maybe next month. So between you doing the post-processing on the photo, and then if you wanted to use the print module, are you familiar with the soft proofing process and what you need to do and why you do it and how you do it?
A little bit. I use soft proofing in Photoshop when I'm printing to a printer, to my own printer. But in Lightroom, I've never used the soft proofing thing, so I can look into it. But no, I don't feel comfortable enough to explain it or answer any questions as to why you would use it or why you wouldn't use it at this point.
Okay.
So I know I've used it in Lightroom or in Photoshop when I was printing my own pictures using my own printer. And I would do what's called a soft proofing to the print calibration that I had made up so that I could see on the screen what the print should look like coming out of the printer was the reason I would use that. But that was countless hours of making calibrations and paper prints that were then read by computer to get the exact colors and making all my own calibrations for the screen, the printer, and the ink. Just so I could hit print once instead of 5 times.
Well, and then a related question. Normally for just small prints, I just send them out to like Shutterfly or Snapfish. But for my larger prints, I've been using the MPEX.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a checkbox when you upload the photo, whether you want them to do, and I forget what term they use, but I'm going to say whether you want them to analyze the color of the photo or not for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you familiar with that and whether you should or should not check the box?
Well,
Let's let Rex answer this question actually, because he's going to have a bit more experience with that than I do. But I'll give you my opinion after Rex.
okay. Miller's and MPEX are pretty much the same. With what I've done with Miller's is I always let them do it. I always let them have the last shot at color balance. And it's across the board. It's worked for me. That's it. That's all I had to say about that. I've only used MPix a couple of times, and I can't even remember what images they would have been.
If, in my opinion on that is correct. Yes, Rex, that is the way I do a lot of stuff that I send to like Miller's or MPix. Unless I've done something specific to my picture that I want to be weird or different, then I'm not going to let them do any kind of color correction to it because I want it to be different. But like my portraits and client work that I send to Miller's, when I send it there, I tell them to go ahead and color correct it because then they're color correcting it for their printer at that time. And when I print my own stuff here at home with my printer, I color correct it here and print to the color correction and the color profiles that I use for home. You can get into, I know at Miller's, you can get their color profiles. They'll give them to you and you can use them for soft proofing. So you can look to see what it should look like when it gets printed. But for the most part, unless I've done something strange or I want it to be tinted a certain way or something like that, I will let them color correct it because they're color correcting it for their screen, their printer, their ink, all at that time that they're printing the picture.
So
Well,
I guess there's a connection between you doing the soft proofing yourself. Is that in fact then when you check the box that they're doing the soft proofing for you?
Well, not necessarily soft proofing. When you check the box when you're uploading it and telling them to color correct, they're looking at the picture and color correcting to their monitor so that when they print it, it's going to print what they expect it to print like.
Well, I guess, isn't that what, when you do soft proofing, isn't that what you're attempting to do yourself?
Yes, if you have the color profiles that you need for that. So if you go to, and MPix, I do believe MPix has them too. You can go and get their color profiles and then upload them into Lightroom or Photoshop into their profiles, and then you can soft proof to that color profile. But that is all dependent on your screen being calibrated correctly and all that kind of stuff. So just clicking the button that says soft proof doesn't mean that you're going to be getting an exact perfect print.
I don't have
that way. It's just, it's one of them things that there's a whole lot involved in that when you start the printing process, whether you're printing for or not. So I have found that in my experience, it's easier to not soft proof, upload my file and tell them to color correct it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Let me get the humorous side of this. First, the side of it is this right here, which is the i1 X-Rite color checker. And most of us that have screens like this have paid big bucks for the screen and work real hard to get it right. We get back test prints from our lab, whatever our lab is, and then we look at them and we look at the screen and say, okay, what I got from this and what I got from the lab, that's as close as we're going to get. The next part, the fun part of it, is that I order 3 30 by 30s. They're canvas wraps. They're almost $1,000 in most times. Yes, we paid $800 or something because they were on sale. I don't want to say I want my color balance and it comes back looking like, you know what. So I'm going to let them have the final word on what the print looks like. That way, if it has anything wrong with it, it's on them. The only thing that I've ever had go wrong with Miller's is they sent me back the same color of one of those large prints twice. In other words, they sent me back the 3 that I ordered, but 2 of them were the same color. So we called them up. We told them what happened. They said, take a picture of it. Email, and send them the picture. And they got the file that had the right color, the one that we had wanted, and they sent that to us. and they allowed us to keep the one that was a duplicate. So I have a fourth picture of a hibiscus. You've seen those 3 hibiscus. I think most of you have. And so the bottom line is, I let them do the color balance, especially when it's going to be a lot of dollars involved in the printing. Okay.
And just to coordinate with Rex, there's mine. That's for.
Oh, I want one.
that's a Spider 5. That
Oh.
is for color correction for my screen.
I think the one I have is as old as I am.
And I also have, along with that, one that is designed to read color on a print, on a sheet of paper, that I bought from Data Color. So I print out test prints that have different colors on it, and let my computer use the piece that came with that, and it reads, it's 256 blocks of color that it goes through and reads each one of those pieces of color, and it creates a profile for the paper in that particular ink. That's really cool, and it sounds really fun, and it takes a long time to do it. The problem is when you buy a new ink cartridge, you got to do it again. Or when you go buy a new pack of paper, you got to do it again. Done. Because, or in my case, like when I used to print a lot at home and did this color stuff, if you printed on Red River paper, you had to have a color profile for that paper. If you used Red River matte paper, you had to have a color profile for that, a color profile for their metallic, a color profile for their matte finish, a color profile for their textured finish. So by the time you were done printing all the ink blots out to do the color profiles for the paper, you had to start over again because you ran out of ink.
Yeah.
And Jim, that is
that's why the lab does it.
Yeah,
that's why I let the lab do it.
That soft proofing comes into effect is when you have those actual color profiles for what you're working with. I have a color profile for my screen and a color profile for my paper and my print and my ink. That's when I use soft proofing to see what it is that it's going to look like when it comes out of my printer. Using soft proofing for MPICs or Millers or wherever you're sending it to me doesn't make a lot of sense, because it's better just let them do their job and do what they do is good. Do what they do, and they do it really well. Does that help, or does that confuse you?
No, that helps. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, save yourself some money. Let them do the color balance. I mean, make sure that you've got what you want on your monitor, and make sure that the test prints that came back in your first go around look close enough to satisfy you, or whatever changes you have to make. Once you've made them, you can start feeling comfortable that you're going to get back pretty close to what you want in your 16 by 20 or 20 by 24. Your larger prints, you know, they're going to cost a lot, but you know your color is going to be pretty close to what you want.
Yeah. Now having one of these, like this spider thing that I have, or the thing that Rex has, or a color monkey, or I don't care whatever one you want to get. I know Beth uses a color monkey. I like Data Color, the spider systems. Those are helpful as far as getting your screen to look right and getting your colors to look right. But if you're doing that thing, like the Data Color ones, the ones I use, they have to be plugged into your computer and running all the time, because it measures ambient light that you're sitting in and makes adjustments to your screen for you in your color profile based on the kind of light that you're working in. And I know you guys have all heard me say that all the windows in my house are closed off or blacked out. That's the reason, because I have, when I do that, I'm letting that to read the amount of light that I'm using in my room, and the color of the light, and to make adjustments to my screen so that my prints come out right. But in retrospect, and all the money and time that I've spent doing that, I'd have been better off just keep sending them to Miller's and telling him to fix it.
Let me, mine doesn't, well, I was just going to say, mine might use ambient room light if it creeps in underneath, but what I'll do is with the light that I have here, this is the business end of it right here, and all those little things around there are just suction cups. The part that it reads is right in the middle. So I don't, oops, let me see. Yeah, see, it just reads, I'm trying to use it so that the light can get to it right there. So those holes, those 4 holes, that's where it reads. The rest, it just sticks on the screen.
Yeah, and mine does the same thing for a calibration, but like I said, for the data color, you leave those sit plugged in, and they have a ambient light reader on the front of them, and they constantly monitor the ambient light throughout the day. As long as they're plugged into your computer, they're measuring that information.
Oh.
But anyhow, that was a long answer to the question of should I use softproofing or not, but there you go.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Just kind of an off-the-wall question to go with that. Is there one company that prints color better than black and white, or vice versa?
Well, I'm going to let Dennis chime in on the black and white part if he wants to.
Yeah, there are companies that print black and white better. Whether they print color or not is kind of a moot point. But the printing black and white is an artistic challenge, and there are companies that do it better than others.
Okay. And
Who do you prefer to print the black and whites?
Well,
good question.
Print it myself, or when I use an external printer, I use Connecticut Photographics in Danbury, Connecticut. Still River Imaging. $35 a square foot.
Oh.
Absolutely. But the difference is easily discernible.
Yeah. And to come back to the color part, I'm a fan of Miller's, which is the pro side of MPix. And MPix, I believe, does a really nice job of printing color photographs. So if I'm sending color out, for me, I send color to Miller's. But you have to have a business to do Miller's. So if you use MPix, that's a good one.
White House Custom Color does a nice job.
Yeah, that was the next one I was going to, is the White House Custom Color. They do a nice job of printing color. And Annie, what's one of the ones you use? I know you've used White House Custom Color. What's the other one you've used?
I've used oh my gosh, the name just went out the window.
American Color?
No.
ACL.
I've gotten really nice metallic prints from oh my gosh.
Well, we're going to let Annie think for a second.
Let my brain think here for a second.
Yeah, different.
You know, White House Custom Color requires you to send them 5 8x10s and let them print them, and they send them back for free. That's so that you can convince yourself and convince them that you know how to upload a 300 dpi image and that is properly color corrected. And when they send it back, you get what you expect.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Miller's does the same. MPix does not. When I started with Miller's, I had to do 5 photos uploaded to them as well. But yeah, everyone has their preferences for color prints. I like Miller's. That's who I use. If I'm getting a metal print, so a print done on metal pieces of aluminum, Babe Photo, I think, is one of the best that there is as far as metal prints.
Well,
but there's a lot of companies out there, and everyone will tell you different. Everyone will say, no, I like this one better than this one. White House Custom Color is a good one MPix is a good one. Miller's is a good one for color prints. Those are some of the top ones that there are. Nations Photo Lab, that's the one.
Yeah, that's the one. Nations, that's the one that I've used.
That's another one that's a pretty good at color prints and metallic prints. They do a good job on metallic print.
Yeah, Nations is the one that I've used several times for, especially for the metallics. They've done with my computer. They've done a really good job of matching the colors. If I've done a color print, and they've done a really good job with the black and whites.
Yep. Good questions.
There are people that will print black and white as digital silver images. They'll take digital photos and print them on classic silver gelatin paper. And I've done it a couple times, but it's brutally expensive.
Yeah.
So I don't do it very often. I've done it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Dennis, do you know if John Wacklow has done that?
I don't know.
Because John, he has worked in black and white and color and large format.
John has almost, well, up until recently, has almost exclusively had his prints made at Sam's Club. And that, I mean, but he spent a lot of time working with Sam's Club printers and getting things.
Profiles,
yeah.
He knows their profiles.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing now because Sam's Club has dropped a lot of their stuff and they've moved their print lab out and stuff like that.
John told me that Watermark has got the identical, or they ended up with the identical equipment for your large prints. And he was asking if we have tried it yet.
Well, I don't know about Walmart, and I know in past, anything I've ever had printed at Walmart turned out to be some of the worst prints I've ever seen.
That's what I told him, but he said that they had the same identical machines for your larger ones.
Having the identical machine and having someone there that knows how to run it is cheap.
Yeah, because I've never had any luck with Sam's.
Walmart picks their people that work in their photo department by they go back and say to the people in the break room, anyone here have a camera? Yep, I got one. Okay, you're now our printer. And that's it. They know nothing. I have not found very many people in a Walmart photo lab that has any clue about what they're doing as far as that goes. They hit print and wait for it to come out the other side, and then if you're lucky, you get your pictures in the envelope.
Yep.
I'm not a fan of.
You got to feel sorry for them, man. They needed a job.
At least they didn't fold them.
You put it in here and it comes out over there. I got a job.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of.
I don't blame them.
Well, I had the same problem with Sam's, so I tried Sam's, and it's always been horrible.
No, I've not. I've had pretty good luck with Sam's.
In the past, the few prints that I've had done at Sam's, I would always tell them what time I'd go pick them up and leave myself an hour.
Yes.
And have them reprint them 2 or 3 times while I was there until they got it right. I never had any luck with Sam's. I was never happy with the first print from them. But John Wacklow absolutely had it down to a science, literally, and he would be willing to show you all the science that he had down to get that. And they were right. They were good. And his prints came out good from them, but I couldn't get that. And
John's a good teacher. He's a good teacher.
Absolutely.
There's 20 by 30s that I had hanging at Hannistown were printed at Sam's.
Yeah, I'm just saying, in my experience, I've never gotten anything I liked out of Sam's.
Yeah.
I've got a stack of free 20 by 30s here that they gave me because they couldn't get them printed right.
I know, me too.
Yeah. They
probably a 1/4-inch thick stack of 20 by 30s.
The 20 by 30s that I had, the only problem I had when I went to pick them up is when the girl picked them up, she ripped the one section of all 3 of them. So she reprinted them for me. other than that, I didn't have, the ones for Hannistown, they look really nice.
Okay, Alan, did that answer your questions?
In a roundabout way.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's printing is everyone has their favorites and has the places that they like the best. And you can, a lot of those labs, you can do that. You send them some 8x10 prints and they send you some free samples back, and try them out and do that and see if you can't get a few samples, or just go order a couple 8x10s or 11x14s. They're usually not too expensive, and see which one you like the best. But if you do that, send the same print to every lab.
Yeah.
Would be my best. You know, I pick a print that has a good color density to it in different colors, and send it to all the labs and let them send me a 11x14 and back, and I can pick out which one I like the best. And then that'll be who I'm going to send stuff to start with, at least, if that makes sense to you.
Yep.
Good questions, guys. Anything else?
No, I learned a lot. Thank you.
Well, you're quite welcome.
Nice to see you, Suzanne.
Nice to see you too, Annie.
Anybody know where my background's at?
The fair. Westmoreland Fair?
Nope.
No.
I can tell you it's not there because of that lamppost in the bottom corner. I
Yeah.
don't know where it's at, but it definitely ain't the fair. There ain't no lamppost.
Oh, well, with Dennis's name there, I couldn't see the lamppost.
No.
No, I can.
It's not a long time ago. It's probably 15 years ago. It's Tivoli Garden in Copenhagen, Denmark.
Oh.
Oh,
Well,
yeah, really.
That is a fair.
I'll get right on there. I know that place inside and out.
Oh, yeah, you betcha.
That was my next guess.
I'm on my way there tomorrow.
Close.
I like it. It's a cool picture. I like the picture.
Yeah.
I like
Me
it.
too.
Very nice.
Those people are like 100 feet in the air.
Yeah.
Wow. I would
Yeah.
like to own that ride.
Yeah, those swings look like they're a little higher up than
Yeah.
most of them.
John had put out a list. He probably gave it to everybody, but there's basically what it is. You all
Yeah.
probably got this list, right?
Yeah.
Shows the prices. So like an 11x14 in home pickup is $586 for a glossy.
Where at, right?
$6.
Walmart.
Where at? Walmart.
Walmart online.
Yeah.
This is, I think my fingers are in the way there. There we go. You can see some of those prices.
Yep.
Did John say he has tried Walmart yet?
I don't remember that myself. Go ahead.
I believe he was testing with them.
I remember that, but
Yeah. I haven't heard anything more from him as far as that goes, but I know he was testing with them once he found out that they were using the same printers as Sam's Club was.
What's interesting is they do glossy, they do matte, and they do metallic.
yeah.
Yep.
And canvas, yeah.
So if you could get a 20x30 in metallic for $25, that's not too bad if it was a good print.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you tried them any in the metallic yet?
Myself?
No, Annie, have you tried
What?
the metallic at Sam's? Have you ever used Sam's metallic?
No, because they had to send them out in order to do the metallics.
Okay.
So I've never used Sam's for the metallics. I used the last few times, like Brian said, I used Nations for my metallics, and they really did a nice job on them. They came back the colors that I wanted, and I was very happy with Nations. So that's who I've used for my metallics.
Yep.
What's tomorrow night going to be on? Brian,
What was that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
what was tomorrow night's meeting going to be about?
Tomorrow night is our BS session. We don't really have a topic for that. That's just us getting together and going over whatever, or just talking and hanging out and enjoying the evening. So it's not necessarily a topic tomorrow night.
Wasn't Jim supposed to supply the lobster and etc. this month for the picnic?
For the picnic.
When's the picnic?
Yeah,
How about tomorrow night?
Yeah, you said, Jim, you were going to.
Well, I am, but when is the picnic? That's my question.
We can do it anytime we want online, but we just have to come and get
No.
do
If
the
you're going to
picnic.
get steak and lobster, it's going to be on the day of the picnic.
That's right.
All right, I'll schedule that out so you know, Jim.
All right.
Mhm.
Uh,
Are we having it at Jim's place?
I can tell you, with the amount of people that was in Ohio Powell on Saturday, we could have a picnic anytime we wanted.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you they were not social distancing.
Mm.
They were everywhere. So yeah.
Did they wear a mask at least?
No, I seen in the trails that I walked, I seen probably 100 people. I think I might have seen 2 people with masks on.
Yeah, a lot of people haven't been putting their masks on whenever they're out, like in the woods and things like that.
So, I don't know. Whatever y'all can do as you please. Be safe though. All right. Well, if there's nothing else for this evening, or no other questions or comments or anything, I can say maybe we can call it for an evening. It's 9 o'clock.
Brian,
Yes.
I'm going to send you a new email
Wonderful.
because I'm not getting your emails.
I can add that to the list of the other 25 emails you've sent me over the years.
I'll just send you one to cross all the others off.
I have to have a separate contact file for Carolyn's email.
Just one. I'll send it. It's one of the original ones.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Mm.
All right. Well,
Double, buddy.
See you guys
I'll
tomorrow.
be popping in late again tomorrow.
Okay.
Thanks again, Brian.
We'll get together tomorrow night and see what we can come up with and have a little talk or whatever. And maybe I'll come up with something I can show you guys. If not, we'll just BS for a while.
okay.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right. Good night.
See y'all later.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
I want to-